I think it's an anterior rib of a proboscidean we're uncovering here. It's a rib of a large mammal, and we're just uncovering it right now, trying to figure out what it is. But it's getting very broad, which is characteristic of the anterior ribs.
Today we are standing at a location at Ziegler Reservoir where yesterday they were running bulldozers and they struck some bone in this area kind of outlined by these pin flags here. Initially there were a few small elements struck that were recognized as bone, and some of the personnel with the museum got in and started exposing the bone a little bit, and initially it was thought it might be a juvenile or an infant, even mammoth or mastodon. I wasn't here when it was initially struck. I came out and we started exposing the bones further and kind of realized that these elements were not proboscidean or elephant. They were in fact bison, and that's something that I study bison. And once we started exposing the bone, we realized based on a couple elements of the lower hind limb that these were in fact probably bison bone. Given the size of, say, things like this, which is a tibia that goes from here to here, which is a lower hind limb bone on the animal, it's much larger than a modern bison. There's also other elements that are associated with the hind limb. This is called a calcaneus, which would have attached basically back down here. We have the other tibia right here. Based on the size and the characteristics, we think that they were some kind of extinct bison. We have yet to have dates on this layer that they came out of, so that will kind of help us maybe determine species. This is probably likely a femur, the bottom half of a femur, which would articulate with this bone here. So it looks like we pretty much have most of the hind leg basically. But there's also portions of ribs. This is kind of hard to see, but it looks like part of the vertebra, so a different part of the skeleton. And what's casted here is a rib as well. So appears there's quite a bit of the animal still here. So that's kind of why we're going to cover this up and resume excavation slowly on it next spring.